All right, third wall. So then we have our specific internal effects. So the last 5 minutes, I guess we'll talk about that. So what's part of the third wall?
Your special forces.
Yeah, actually. Very specific. Special training, if you want to think of it that way. They only attack specific bacteria that's already been a confirmed target. Could really go off with this.
So they're like the, not necessarily Navy SEALs, but like the Delta Force.
But I mean, you can think of it as a SEALs. I mean, you're not going to send them into just the normal everyday battles, right? That the Army's going to do that. So anyways, so when something comes in, immediately the second wall is going to start fighting it off, right? But we're also going to start developing immunity, saying, I don't want to, if I get attacked by these guys again, this pathogen again, I don't want to be caught off guard like I was this time. So we develop particular memory against those pathogens. So it's like once you've gotten, once you get the chickenpox, you don't get the chickenpox again because your body develops antibodies against that. Now, I know there's always those weird cases where somebody got chickenpox twice. But in a normal, healthy, normal being the key word here, immune system, you don't get chickenpox twice, usually. So what happens is the bacteria or the virus or whatever the pathogen is that we recognize, the macrophage, they're out there, they're non-specific, right? They're just gobbling up everything. Well, when they find something, they find a helper T cell, and they say, hey, look what I found. Helper T says, oh, hey, I don't recognize that one. Let's develop a special task force against this particular pathogen. So the helper T cell then says, it goes to the B cells and says, hey, look what I found. If you see this, attack it. So the B cell says, okay, I'm going to make a particular task force against this particular pathogen. So it makes a memory saying, okay, if this ever comes by, I'll recognize it. And produces a bunch of B cells that make a bunch of antibodies, and they're specialized and go out and attack that particular pathogen. And then they say, okay, we'll disband most of the task force, but we're going to keep a few behind that remember that pathogen.
So that's why if you get sick from something, you'll always be immune to it after, because your body is just like, oh, I recognize it, so I mean, so, okay.
Yeah, usually. There's some that we don't, you know, like, my wife swears she gets strep every year on her birthday. I think a lot of it's psychosomatic, but basically, you know, you think it makes it. But anyways, and there's more than one type of bacteria that causes strep. So whether it's, my thought is it's probably more different bacteria every time, but I guess it could be the same bacteria, or different strains of even the same type of bacteria. So anyway, so it's going to do that with the B cells to fight bacteria. It's also going to go to the cytotoxic T cells, which are basically natural killer cells, but they're specialized. So they're like the special bomb squad. They're not just the generic bomb squad. They're the SEALs bomb squad or whatever. So then they get very specific and recognize that particular virus when it takes over a cell as a particular, you know, call sign or whatever, and it goes after those particular cells. And that takes, if it takes 4 to 7 days, it can take up to a week to really activate that system. So that's why it's good we have a second wall to initiate things. So the first response, it takes a while. That's why the first time you get stung by a bee, you may not, you know, develop a response against it. Our body just says, hey, that toxin is bad. Is it really? Not really, but our body thinks it is. So the first time you get stung, you may not have a reaction. The second time, you've got antibodies and everything else built up already, so your body goes crazy on it as soon as it happens.
Is that a bad thing, or?
In that case, it's bad. Normal infections, it's good because we wipe it out right away.
Mm-hmm.
But with the bee sting, that actually isn't that harmful and our body thinks it is, it's an overreaction. We'll talk about allergies.
So like allergies, basically.
It is an allergy. That's exactly what it is.